You ever book a flight, look at the price, and think, wait, how is it cheaper to fly farther? Then you dig a little deeper and realize, oh, it's not a glitch, it's just airline logic. And if you know how to play by their rules, or better yet, around them, flying becomes a whole different game. This video is your playbook. We're diving into the real stuff, the hacks seasoned flyers actually use, how to beat overpriced routes without breaking rules, how to turn a layover into a side trip, how to avoid airport traps designed to drain your wallet before you even get to your gate. And it all starts with a one-way flight to Seattle that I never intended to finish. A while back, I needed to fly to San Francisco for work. Checked prices like usual. Every direct flight, over $400. Nothing special, just coach, middle seat, no bags. Out of curiosity, I searched flights to Seattle. Same day, same airline. One of the options caught my eye. It connected through San Francisco. And the price? $168. That's when I found out about skiplagging. Instead of booking a flight to your actual destination, you book one where that city is just the layover. You get off the plane there and skip the final leg. In my case, I booked the Seattle flight, flew to San Francisco, walked off like any other passenger, and never made it to the second half of the trip. No bags to claim, no gate change, no problem. It's called hidden city ticketing. And while it might sound like a loophole, it's entirely legal. You're still paying for the flight, you're just choosing not to complete the itinerary. So why is it cheaper? Because airlines price connecting routes to less popular cities lower, even if the flight covers more distance. A stop in San Francisco on the way to Seattle gets priced down to fill seats. Meanwhile, the nonstop to San Francisco stays high because they know people will pay for the convenience. Websites like Skiplagged have turned this into a science. They've helped more than 12 million travelers spot these routes. Chances are, you've seen one and didn't even realize it. But here's where it gets tricky. Airlines don't like it at all. They've written it into their terms to discourage people. They monitor for patterns. They've shut down loyalty accounts and canceled return legs when they catch someone doing it repeatedly. If you want to try it, do it carefully. Skip the checked bags. Don't add your frequent flyer number. And don't push your luck by doing it too often on the same airline. Used sparingly, it can save you hundreds without coupons, points, or flash sales. You just need to understand how the pricing works and know where to exit. All right, now that you know how to outsmart the route, let's talk about when to book it. Because timing your purchase right, that's another travel move worth knowing. You ever book a flight, then find out the person next to you paid $100 less for the exact same seat? Happened to me last year. I booked a Friday night flight. Felt pretty smart about it too. Direct route, decent time, no crazy layover. Cost me $382. 2 days later, my friend booked the same flight. Same airline, same row. She paid $241. At first I thought it was just bad timing. Random fare change, luck of the draw. But turns out it wasn't. Booking trends from Expedia and Google Flights actually show this happens all the time. The best time to book flights? Usually Sunday. And the cheapest days to fly? Right in the middle of the week, especially Tuesday and Wednesday for domestic flights, or Wednesday and Thursday for international ones. Why? Because that's when nobody else wants to go. Mondays and Fridays are jammed with business travel. Sundays, full of vacation returns and weekend warriors. But midweek, fewer people flying, lower demand. Airlines quietly lower fares to fill those empty seats. Since then, I've changed how I book. If I've got any wiggle room, I check prices midweek. I book on Sunday mornings when most people are still figuring out their brunch plans. And yeah, I've saved more than once. Not every trip will line up perfectly, but when it does, you feel like you cracked a code airlines didn't want you to see. So next time you're about to click confirm on that Friday night fare, pause. Check what that same flight looks like on a Tuesday. It might be the same route, same seat, just a way better deal. There was a time I looked at layovers as pure punishment. You know the type. 8 hours stuck in some anonymous terminal, sipping overpriced coffee while your body clock begs for a reset. I used to dread them until I found out I'd been wasting them. That all changed on a flight to London. I booked with Icelandair. Thought it was just a decent fare. But after checkout, a tiny pop-up appeared. Add a stopover in Reykjavik, up to 7 days, same price. Wait, 7 days? Same price? I clicked yes before the page finished loading. And that's how a routine trip to the UK turned into hot springs, black sand beaches, and Icelandic lamb stew, none of which I planned or paid extra for. Turns out a lot of airlines do this. They just don't scream it from the homepage. If the airline's based in a major hub, they want you to hang out for a while. TAP Air Portugal lets you do it in Lisbon or Porto. Turkish Airlines even tosses in a hotel stay in Istanbul. Qatar, Etihad, Emirates, Air Canada, all offering ways to stretch a layover into a real trip. It's not in the usual booking flow. You have to build it yourself. Go to the multi-city tab, drop in the hub as a stop, and let the airline's system price it out. Same origin and destination, just with a strategic pause in the middle. I've done it 3 times now. Each time, I landed in my final city less rushed, way more refreshed, and honestly, happier to be there. There's something about spending a day, or 5, wandering cobbled streets in Lisbon, or sipping Turkish tea by the Bosphorus that makes the second leg of a trip feel like dessert, not delay. If you're gonna stop anyway, make it count. Because some of the best travel memories come from the places you never planned to visit in the first place. Alright, now back to the airport itself. Because before you even board, there's a trick that can save your sanity and maybe your entire flight. There's a special kind of dread that hits when you round the corner at the airport and see it. Hundreds of people zigzagging in slow motion toward the TSA checkpoint. Belts off, shoes in hand, kids melting down. And your gate? Somewhere on the other side of that chaos, boarding in 38 minutes. It's the part of flying that makes even the calmest traveler tense up. But here's the thing, most airports aren't built with just one way in. You just have to know where to look, or better yet, who to ask. I was flying out of JFK one morning, Terminal 4. The main line was crawling. I'd barely moved 5 feet in 10 minutes. Out of desperation, I asked a nearby staffer if there was any other checkpoint. She leaned in and said, "Yeah, there's another one downstairs. No signs, but it's open." I followed her directions, took the escalator down, and walked straight into a checkpoint with maybe 6 people in line. 10 minutes later, I was at the gate sipping coffee. Never would have found it if I hadn't asked. And turns out, a lot of airports have hidden checkpoints just like that, tucked into connector halls, other terminals, or near pre-check lanes. They're not obvious, but if you ask, staff will usually point you there. I've even cleared security in Terminal 3 at LAX, then strolled over airside to Terminal 2. No crowds, no chaos. It takes 2 seconds to ask. You've got nothing to lose, and a lot of sanity to save. Next time you're stuck in a crowd of shoeless strangers, don't just suffer through it. Ask around. The fast lane might be hiding in plain sight. There's something strange that happens right after security. You're tired, hungry, a little relieved, and suddenly everything feels nicer. Softer floors, warmer lights, music that sounds like it came from a luxury hotel lobby, and the smell of cinnamon or coffee that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. That shift, it's not random, it's design. Airports study human behavior the way casinos do. They know you walk slower on carpet, they know right-handed people drift right, and they know that when you're relaxed, you spend more. Even the mirrors, the gentle curves in the walkways, the scent pumped into the air, none of it's accidental. It's all meant to make you pause. And while you're paused, well, there's that $19 sandwich, or that cologne you didn't plan on. Once you see it, it's hard to unsee. And when you do, you stop buying what you didn't even want 5 minutes ago. You walk into duty-free and it hits you. Sleek bottles, shiny displays, glowing signs that say tax-free, like you just unlocked some secret sale. But here's the part no one tells you. Those prices? Not always cheaper. Sometimes they're worse. A lot of the stuff is bundled into exclusive gift packs with no clear price per item. Try finding a normal-sized version or comparing prices. It's intentionally confusing. I once looked up a perfume mid-aisle, found it $25 cheaper at a department store back home. Most people don't check. That's what duty-free counts on. So unless you've already done your homework or you've got no other way to buy it, pause before swiping your card. Pull out your phone. One quick search could save you from a deal that wasn't. You've probably done it. Paid $6 for a tiny bottle of water just because you were thirsty and stuck past security. And airport food? A basic sandwich that somehow costs more than your entire breakfast yesterday. Thing is, this one's avoidable and surprisingly simple. Bring an empty water bottle. That's it. Doesn't matter if it's a $2 plastic one or a sleek hydro flask, just keep it empty through security. On the other side, most airports now have refill stations near the gates. Free water, no markup, no regrets. Same goes for snacks. Toss a protein bar or a handful of almonds into your bag. Solid food? Totally fine at TSA. You'll thank yourself when you're not paying $14 for a stale croissant wrapped in foil. I once got through a 5-hour layover with just a banana, a granola bar, and a refillable bottle, and walked past the food court like it wasn't even there. It's not a secret, but it's the kind of basic prep that pays off big when you're tired, hungry, and 2 gates away from making a $20 impulse decision. Stay fed, stay hydrated, spend that extra cash on something better, like dinner when you land. You're sitting at the gate, everything's on time. Then comes the announcement. This flight is oversold. We're looking for volunteers to take a later departure. That's your cue. Most people panic or ignore it, but the travelers who know, they lean in. Because this might be the easiest money you ever make without even leaving the airport. Airlines overbook on purpose. It's part of their business model. They know some passengers won't show up, so they sell more seats than they actually have. But when too many people check in, they need to fix it fast, and they'll pay to make it happen. What most folks don't realize is that the first offer, that's just the starting point. I've seen $200 vouchers quietly climb to $800 while people hesitated. One time, I held off until they upped it to $1,200, then raised my hand. Took the next flight, got upgraded, and still landed in time for dinner. Funny thing is, if they can't get enough volunteers and you're bumped involuntarily, you're not stuck with a voucher. US law actually entitles you to cash, sometimes up to 4 times your one-way fare, depending on how long you're delayed. But you've got to ask, and you've got to get it in writing before you walk away from the counter. It's not exactly advertised on the departure screen, but for flexible travelers, it's a trade worth considering. A couple hours of waiting in exchange for your next trip being almost free. Just don't jump at the first offer. Smile. Wait. Then negotiate like someone who's been here before. Everyone's crowding the gate. You know the scene. People lined up before their groups even called, clutching boarding passes like they're about to miss the last flight off Earth. Meanwhile, there's you, still in your seat. No rush. Just waiting. And if you're not hauling a big carry-on, that's the move. See, boarding last gives you one thing nobody else gets, the full picture. You walk on when everyone's already seated. You can spot open rows, empty aisle seats, and the occasional window that somehow got skipped. I've boarded last and landed an entire row to myself more than once. And I didn't even ask. I just noticed. And here's the wild part. When flights are overbooked or logistics get messy, gate agents sometimes need to reseat people on the fly. Being the last one in, you're right there when that opportunity shows up. I've watched someone get pulled from Group 9 into a premium seat just because everything else was full and they were easy to move. Now, this only works if your bag is already checked or small enough to slide under the seat. If you're banking on overhead bin space, boarding late is a gamble. But if all you've got is a backpack, you're golden. So skip the gate swarm. Let the aisle chaos happen without you. Walk on calm, grab the best available seat, and enjoy the quiet satisfaction of boarding smarter, not earlier. There's always that moment near the end of a trip. Your suitcase barely zips, you're sweating at check-in, and you're praying the agent doesn't ask you to weigh it. Happens to the best of us. That extra jacket, the snacks, a few souvenirs you swore you weren't going to buy. Suddenly, the bag that fit perfectly on the way out is bursting at the seams. This is where the foldable bag comes in. It's light, it packs flat, and when you need it, total lifesaver. I keep one tucked into my main bag every time I travel. Roll it out, toss in overflow, and it becomes your personal item for the flight back. I've used it as a beach tote, a laundry bag, and once, even as a last-minute shopping haul carrier in Tokyo when my roller bag tapped out. Most airlines let you bring one carry-on and one personal item. That second bag? This is it. No extra fees, no stress, no wrestling with your zipper in front of strangers. It's not flashy, but it's the kind of trick that turns a packing fail into a smooth exit. And once you've got one, you'll wonder why you ever traveled without it. You get to your seat, plug in your headphones, and reach for the screen in front of you, except there isn't one. Or worse, there is, but it's frozen on the airline logo. And the Wi-Fi? Slower than dial-up in a thunderstorm. I've been there, and I've learned the hard way. If you don't prep your own entertainment, you're one tech glitch away from 6 hours of staring at the seatback fabric. The fix is simple. Download before you board. Movies, shows, playlists, podcasts, ebooks. Load them up when you've got strong Wi-Fi at home or the hotel. Most streaming apps like Netflix, Spotify, and Audible let you save content offline. It takes 5 minutes. And once you're in the air, it's all yours. No buffering, no logins, no disappointment. And don't forget the charger. Or better yet, a portable power bank. Because those USB ports on the plane? Hit or miss. Airlines won't remind you to prep because they'd rather sell you sketchy Wi-Fi at $8 a pop. But once you've got your own in-flight setup dialed in, you won't care if the screen works or not. You've got your own theater, you brought your own sound, and nobody can pause it but you. It seems like the perfect spot. Tuck your backpack under the seat, keep your stuff close, avoid the overhead battle. But here's what most people don't realize. That cozy little space might be the filthiest corner on the plane. I'm talking sticky spills, crumbs from 3 flights ago, shoe dirt from every continent, and sometimes stuff you really don't want to know about. There was a case on a transatlantic flight where someone's bag came out soaked in fluids from a medical emergency that hadn't been fully cleaned up. It's not just gross, it's risky. If your bag's got zippers facing forward, someone in the row ahead could reach back mid-flight while you're asleep. Yes, theft happens, even at 35,000 feet. So here's what I do. Essentials go in my jacket pockets or a neck pouch. If I do slide a bag under the seat, zippers face me. And that bag always has a wipeable bottom or goes inside a tote I can clean later. It takes 5 extra seconds to think about, but it can save you from starting your trip with a ruined bag, or worse, missing a passport that's no longer there. You don't have to skip underseat storage completely. Just know what you're putting at risk and pack like someone who's seen what ends up on those carpets. So there you go. 12 airport and flight hacks that most people miss, and the airlines definitely won't spell out for you. Some of these tips might sound small: skipping the overhead bin, packing your own snacks, asking if there's another security lane. But when you're tired, rushed, or one gate away from a meltdown, that stuff adds up. And once you've used them a few times, they stop feeling like tricks. They just become how you travel, smarter, calmer, and a whole lot cheaper. If even one of these helped you rethink the way you fly, hit the like button so this video finds its way to more travelers who need it. Got your own favorite trick? Something weird that works every time? Drop it in the comments. I read them all, and I'm always adding to the list. And if you want more no-nonsense travel tips like this, stuff that's actually useful, go ahead and subscribe. No fluff, no fake hacks, just ways to make your next flight suck a little less. Safe travels. See you in the next one.